Welcome viewers today to another session with Spark Plus. So today we have one of our clients, which is a very exciting gold exploration company, which is listed on the CSE. However, their assets are mainly in Idaho in the US. And we've got their managing director, Jonathan Buick, with us today. Jonathan, how are things at your end?
Very good. And thank you, Omar. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah, not a problem. So Jonathan, I guess, if you wouldn't mind sharing for our viewers and investors a bit on the genesis of Idaho Champion.
Sure. So we are a public company, as you said. We're trading in Canada and the US, and on Thursday we'll be trading on Frankfurt, so we'll be tri-listed. Primary listing is in Canada. Canadian head office, US assets, focused in Idaho. We're Idaho-centric. We created the company in 2016. Secured the second project that we'll speak to. We've got two gold projects now. The second one we picked up in 2018. We've made a brand new gold discovery at our project called the Banner, and we have a past producing brownfield called the Champagne. And so we've got two exciting projects with drills turning on both projects as we speak.
Okay, and I mean the whole region, I guess, which you're operating in, I guess there was extensive exploration done there by Kinross Gold in the past. Are you able to share also a little bit about the discoveries that have been made within the region?
Sure. So at Banner, I'll speak to Banner first, and then I'll speak to Champagne. At Banner, it's important for me as I look at things as an investor first and foremost. And one of the first questions I ask when I look at a potential investment opportunity is, where's the closest mine and when was it last in production? And in Banner, we're in the Oro Grande Shears Zone, which is a structure that goes right through central Idaho. We've got known gold deposits to the north of us. We've made our brand new discovery at Banner, and the discovery risk has been removed in that drill program of 2018. And 5 miles south of us is the Friday deposit, which Endo Mines, which is a Finnish Swedish listed company, announced commercial production there in April of this year. So we've got a brand new gold mine, Idaho's newest gold mine, 5 miles south of us, which tells us permitting is possible, and there's a process to that. We're comfortable there. At the Champagne mine, it was mined by Bema Gold from 89 to 92. It was one of the first open pit heap leaches in the Pacific Northwest. Commodity price caused them to shut that down. We picked that up ourselves. Took advantage of our governor being very positive to mining and exploration. He actually deemed mining and exploration essential services during the COVID pandemic. So a lot of our colleagues in other parts of the world were told to be tools down. We were able to be active in the field. We did 3 transactions in March and April, as well as increased our land package. We now control 10 square miles at Champagne. We believe it's a camp, not a project, but certainly with the known metallurgy of the past production at Champagne, comfortable that we can increase the historic resource and add ounces to that, as well as make multiple discoveries. And both, as I said earlier, both projects are drilling as we speak.
And I guess to that point, I mean, with Banner and Champagne, how much drilling have you actually done? And I guess what sort of results are you getting from the drill program?
Sure. So in 2018, we went 19 for 19 at Banner. We have a discovery zone there of 500 meters north-south by 200 meters east-west. We've drilled about 5% of that property. All our numbers were all our results were in the oxides. Mining decisions are being made globally at 0.6 grams a ton. We were multiples of that. We had very nice intervals. And we have now undertook a drill program there, started about 6 weeks ago, where we've just completed our 5th hole. That's a 3,000 meter core program. We have 2.7 kilometers of strike permits in place for 19 drill pad locations. So we're marching the drill to the north, and we anticipate seeing more of the same of what we saw in 2018. So in 2018, we did a 5,300 meter program. Now currently we're doing a 3,000 meter program. At the same time, we have a second program happening at Champagne. We announced a 5,000 meter RC program. We've drilled about 25% of that so far, and we've just mobilized a core rig to add into on that. So we'll have the RC rig arriving later this week to add and increase our understanding of the geologic opportunity at Champagne.
And essentially within Idaho, has the whole COVID situation slowed you down at all, or is it business as per usual?
Well, I won't say it's business as per usual. It's certainly the first time in my life where the first question I was asking drill contractors was, what's your COVID policy? At the end of the day, it's about the safety of our team and the third-party consultants that are working with us. But because it's a very sparsely populated state, there has been an ability to stay active in the field. And it's because exploration is quite remote and you're usually out in the bush by yourself or in small numbers. It's much easier to do than if we were in a bigger population base. So for us, it's been as close to business as usual as we could say. It's one man, one truck type of thing, or one person, because we've got several world-class geologists. But for us, it's been as close to normal as we could have.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other question that I had, Jonathan, is I guess having represented several junior exploration companies, we've realized how key the management is to these projects. So I guess, would you be able to share a bit on your background, Jonathan? I understand you were a corporate guy before, and now you've made the switch to the exploration side. If you can share a bit on yourself and the board as well.
Sure. So my background's corporate finance. Prior to becoming a founder of Idaho Champion, my advisory firm was called Harp Capital, focused on bringing in strategic partners out of Korea and Japan into natural resource. My business has been natural resource my whole career. I've raised over $400 million for other issuers. This is my first time in the driver's seat as CEO, but certainly well experienced in terms of being a part of decision-making and funding of projects and companies. My chairman is Bruce Reed, who's a geologist by background, MBA, former banker, Toronto-based. I'm also Toronto-based. Paul Fornazzari, securities lawyer at one of the big law firms in Toronto, focused on junior resource companies as clients. Our two most recent appointments to the board are Greg Schifrin, who's based out of Sandpoint, Idaho, geologist by background, has capital markets experience. Certainly has been crucial for us in the last 6 months because we haven't been able to travel, in terms of his ability to handle the agencies and family relationships down in the state of Idaho. We work closely with the communities we're in, and Greg's been crucial to that. And our most recent appointment is Patrick Highsmith, who just came back from a stint with Fortescue in Australia, Denver-based geologist. Used to be the person responsible for joint ventures into juniors while he was at Newmont, big company experience. And for me, his most important role and function as a member of the board is to make sure that as we gather the data specific to the projects underway right now, that we put that in a position of success for any conversations we have with other partners. So we've been approached by mid-tier and large cap gold companies, and we want to behave and act like we're a big company in terms of how we manage our data, and Patrick's going to play an important role on that. The opportunity for us is advancing the projects to a mining decision, and if we do this the right way, that decision will be perhaps made by others. But we need to gather the data and run the programs and do the studies that allow for a mining decision to be made. And we're in a great jurisdiction. Idaho's continuous mining state since the 1860s. It started to gain a lot more interest and attraction in the last 3 years. It sits just north of Nevada. Nevada's certainly been the gold standard industry-wise, but it's a man-made border. The geology doesn't stop at the border. And it's now ranked 8th in the world by the Fraser Institute and 3rd in North America, and now it ranks every province in Canada. So it's a state gaining prominence in terms of opportunity, and certainly have seen that amongst some of our peers. It's a small-knit exploration community, and we've got a good support team amongst all of us, looking out for each other and trying to be good stewards in the communities and at the project level.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you guys are also well funded. As per July 2020, 8.1 million in cash, and just having a 21 million market cap, I think it's quite reasonable. But I guess specifically to the financing that you currently have, where does that get you through? How much work can you be doing with that? And I guess what sort of burn rate are you hitting? And I know it's quite subjective in that sense.
Well, it's the ebb and flow of seasonality can dictate burn rate. I look at burn rate on a yearly basis because Mother Nature can impact how quickly we can move in the field. We do deal with 4 seasons in Idaho. Although at Champaign, we can work 12 months a year. At Banner, we probably would be wise to not work through the winter. Gets a fair amount of snow there, which increases your costs. So with that $8.1 million financing, we're well funded. We have a $3.2 million US budget for this first phase at both Banner and Champaign combined. So sort of between now and year end, that's 3.2 million US. We raised 8.1 million Canadian. Our challenge is we raise in Canadian, but we spend in American. So we lose on the currency exchange right out of the gate. We also have another $4 million of in-the-money warrants I would refer to the investors that hold those warrants as friends and family. They're long-term repeat shareholders who believe in what we're trying to accomplish. In the financing we just closed, there was another $6 million available at 45 cents. So our stock today is trading around 25. Certainly with the drill programs, we're drilling 8,000 meters between the two programs right now. With the news flow that we're going to generate this fall in a rising gold market ahead of a U.S. election, now having gotten the U.S. listing, we think we'll see our stock price get re-rated and move higher. So really, we have an additional 10 million available to us. So when I look at what the next 12 months is, I feel like we really have a $17 million war chest to go and drill, and we're going to keep drilling. We're going to be drilling at Champagne throughout the winter as well as currently. So we'll come right back in the new year and keep drilling. The opportunity for our shareholders is advancing the assets, and we think this is the right time and the right opportunity for us as a company to advance both the banner. We've removed the discovery risk. It's not is there gold there, it's how much gold is there, and that's what we're looking to define through this program. At Champagne, we know there was mining that was an open pit heap leach. They barely scratched the surface. Comfortable that ounces were left behind based on the historic data we got from the Kinross acquisition we did in March. But certainly for us, understanding what's happening in terms of the geology at depth and the bigger land package that we've now acquired, we think there's a huge amount of opportunity with the drill bit, and we're going to be aggressive in drilling for the next 12 to 18 months.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the other thing we wanted to find out is, maybe your view on the macro environment. I guess, gold prices had gold spot rather has had a very good year. And how do you feel, I guess, the US election is going to affect that and potentially your operations in Idaho as well?
Well, it's funny. I was on Zoom is our new universe, as you're well aware. And I was doing a Zoom call last week. We got our listing in the U.S. last Thursday, so I was doing some marketing into the U.S. and I had an investor or potential investor ask, "Well, what do you think is going to happen? Whoever's in the White House matter to you?" And my response to that question is, I can't worry about the White House. I need to worry about the house that's adjacent to the project where we are. If we are good stewards in the community we operate in, that's where we can control things. We can't control who's in the White House and who's making those decisions. Idaho's a historic mining state. We've got very good understanding in the state agencies in terms of how to move a mine to a construction process or construction decision and do that. I think the uncertainty is more than just the election in the U.S. in terms of globally. With the printing press that's occurring globally, it's frightening. And gold, I think, will continue to be a compelling, attractive investment for investors to try to reduce risk. And certainly as we go through the next 6 to 12 months, I think we'll see gold price appreciate. And the great news about being in a state like Idaho is we don't have to worry about confiscation of assets. We're not in a part of the world where governments are going to look at foreign entities that have assets and seize those assets. We're in a safe jurisdiction with known mining code and mining rules and regulations. And that's part of the reason why we're there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the other question that I do get a lot from our investors here in Asia, specifically in Singapore and Hong Kong, is, I guess, what made you list on the CSE versus, let's say, an exchange like the TSX? I guess just for those that are less familiar with the CSE Sure. here in the region.
Sure. Yeah, the CSE is a newer exchange. The CSE for me is very understanding of the challenges of being a microcap company. They get it. They're very supportive of our industry. They're very supportive of their issuers. They have featured us in online publications, online interviews. They've paid for some advertising for us on Canadian media, just as a new lister. It was not specific to us. We were a new listing company, so they wanted to highlight us. I was at a conference in Vancouver where they arranged a bunch of institutional meetings and a speaking opportunity. Unprecedented for an exchange to go to that effort to support their issuing clients. And so they've been first class. They're gaining more prominence. You're seeing more listings there on a weekly basis. And I think they'll continue to move to the fore. But for us as a public company, the CSE made sense for us. Their costs are certainly much more amenable to being a microcap company. I mean, the reality is the junior resource business, we've been in a nuclear winter for the last decade. And we need to have an ability to have access to capital. And the CSE provided that. and I have nothing but good things to say about them, and I appreciate everything they're doing for us.
That's great to hear. And I guess the other thing that we've realized that's very important to corporates is the promotional aspect. And how are you, I guess, navigating that at the moment in terms of with engagement with investors? Obviously, Zoom seems to be the new norm. How is Idaho getting the message out there?
Sure. We never really have done a lot of marketing in the past. We will now have been listed 2 years at the end of September of this year. So we're still a new listing. It was a reverse takeover. We were pretty quiet. We started drilling, came out public. We were still in the drill program, came out with our results in 2019 into a market that still had yet to care about gold names. So it didn't really do a lot. Now that we've raised the money and we have 2 active drill programs, it's time to stand up and get on the soapbox and pound our chest a little bit. We think when we look at the market cap and the cash position we're in, we think we have a pretty compelling thesis for an investment consideration. So we're now starting to do a bunch of conferences in addition to working with you and your team at Spark Plus and for Southeast Asia and Far East Asia. We're undertaking the same approach into Europe. We're now doing that in the US. We've gotten the dual listing into the US. We're now adding the Frankfurt listing. We think it doesn't matter where the assets are in terms of how we show against. We think we show well. You know, we've got 2 oxide. We have a brand new oxide discovery at Banner. We have an oxide past producer at Champagne with good grade at both, with opportunity for significant ounces to be added through the drill bit. We think if an investor stops and takes a look, that they'll see a pretty compelling opportunity that they should invest in. The other thing I would say, management, we own about 32% of the company. So we're aligned with our shareholders. I refer to my shareholders as my partners. The advantage they have is liquidity. I've agreed to lock up my stock. I see this as a wealth creating opportunity. You know, I'm not here for 10%. I'm here for 10 times my money. I want my shareholders to understand that. If you look at the presentation on the website or the website of the company, my mobile number is on the website. You know, it's about accountability and availability. We've got lots of news to come. You know, we've got at least 20 press releases between now and year end tied to our drill programs. And it's my job and function to make sure we have people watching the story. You know, my commitment to you, Omar, when we first talked was, I know as an investor, if I have a liquidity event, the first thing I'm going to sell is the one I know least about. Well, my commitment to you when I talked to you the first time was, Idaho Champion will never be the one you know least about in your portfolio. You know, it's about being available, speaking, answering, and being responsive. Every dollar we spend, we learn something from. But I think the greater part of that is that we're aligned with them. We're there for, we've got all paid for stock. We're all fully invested, and we're here. And our challenge is the same challenge of our shareholders. And we think that's something that investors look for. And we think that we make sense by doing that.
Oh, I totally agree. And I would say with our best performing clients, it's generally the CEO that is the most engaged in terms of communicating to his investors and quite prompt in terms of communicating to his investors that has shown the best performance in their share price. So we've seen that direct correlation. So I must say with working with you, it seems you are quite available as a CEO versus some of the larger companies that we've worked with. And I guess, Jonathan, perhaps as parting words, if you wanted to perhaps highlight 3 things that our Asian investor base should look at for Idaho Champion. Okay.
First would be the drill bit is turning on 2 projects. We have a brand new gold discovery with the newest gold mine in Idaho, 5 miles south of us. So we know we're in a camp where a gold mine can get permitted. At Champagne, we have a historic production situation where we can advance the drill bit, can advance the resource, build on that historic resource, but also find new ounces. So we have lots of news flow to come. We have a capable team, and we have a great jurisdiction, and we have a very supportive governor, and it's a unique opportunity. You know, there's not a lot of companies can point to one project. We can point to 2. We have two kicks at the can, basically, and we're confident that we can deliver ounces on both projects in a market that cares about ounces, and we think we can show that through the drill bit and through our team's capabilities that we can advance this and move the projects to a meaningful decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Jonathan, I mean, we'll I guess give an update to our investors in the next quarter, but we really appreciate your time. And viewers, I guess Jonathan has kindly put up the tickers of the three listings they have on the CSE, the OTC, and the Frankfurt exchange. So if you're interested to get involved, please do let us know. But thank you again, Jonathan, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Omar. And I would also say we've got some drone footage within Idaho Champion. We're now creating a YouTube channel. So I think it's important, since we can't travel due to the new norm of COVID, we wanted to try to find a way for investors to understand where we sit with our assets. You can go on the YouTube and search Idaho Champion, see the footage. You'll see the rigs being mobilized. You'll see the open pit in the backdrop. And I think that's as close as you can get to touching and feeling and smelling at this stage, but certainly something we think will allow for investors to understand the magnitude of the opportunity. But thank you again for having us on today. Thank
you, Jonathan. And we'll put up the drone footage perhaps at the end of this video. We'll put up a link so investors can see the actual region. But thank you again.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you.